Sarah Mitchell stepped into the glass building like she had for the past 4 years. Her badge clicked at the entrance. She smiled at the security guard, like always. Nothing felt different that morning. The sun was bright, her coffee warm. The office smelled like fresh paper and silence. It was just another normal day. She placed her things on her desk, second row, third cubicle from the left. She turned on her computer. The same screens lit up. Numbers, files, reports. She had already fixed a back-end error before most people even arrived. Sarah was fast, focused, and quiet. Too quiet. Maybe at exactly 9:13 a.m., she got an email from HR. Please report to room 204 immediately. No subject. No explanation. Sarah blinked. She wasn't nervous, just confused. She had no pending issues, no warnings, no meeting scheduled. Still, she stood, straightened her cardigan, and walked quietly down the hall. No one looked up. No one knew anything. Room 204 was always used for private meetings. The HR manager, Leslie, sat across the table. She looked tense. Sarah, Leslie began, not meeting her eyes. This isn't easy, but today will be your last day. Sarah stayed still. No reaction. Her face didn't change. There's been restructuring, Leslie added quickly, and your role is being eliminated, effective immediately. No warning, no discussion, no questions. Sarah finally spoke, her voice calm. May I ask why? Leslie hesitated. I wasn't given details. Sarah didn't argue. She didn't cry. She simply nodded. She was told her access would be removed within the hour. She could collect her things. It had already been notified. A young security guard waited outside the room to escort her. She walked past her coworkers in silence. No one knew what was happening. No one even looked up. Back at her desk, Sarah packed her belongings. A photo of her mother, a blue notebook, a coffee mug that said, "Keep going." She left behind her sticky notes and her headset. None of it mattered now. As she walked to the elevator, she noticed Ryan from product watching her. He said nothing, just stared. Maybe he knew, maybe he didn't care. Sarah left the building without a word. Outside, the city kept moving. Cars honked. People rushed by. She stood on the sidewalk, staring up at the office window where she used to sit. Then she walked away, slow, silent, and invisible. Sarah didn't check her work email after that. She uninstalled every company app from her phone. She blocked the office number. She needed peace, not closure. At home, she sat on the edge of her bed. Her apartment was small and neat, just like her. She wasn't angry. She wasn't broken. But something in her head shut off. For a week, she didn't talk to anyone. She helped her neighbor water plants. She read a book. She slept more. The world didn't ask for her, so she didn't offer herself. But on the 8th day, something strange happened. Her phone buzzed. A missed call. Unknown number. Then another. Sarah looked down. 12th missed call. By evening, 24. She didn't recognize any of the numbers, all different area codes, some private, some international. She frowned, silenced the phone, and went to bed. The next day, 28 more calls. Now the number was 52 missed calls in less than 36 hours. She turned her phone off completely. Something was wrong. Meanwhile, back at the company, chaos had begun. The systems Sarah had silently kept alive were now failing one by one. Files weren't syncing. Live dashboards were crashing. Clients were complaining. Transactions were stuck. Ryan, the man who once took credit for Sarah's work, had no idea how to fix anything. People started to whisper. Didn't Sarah manage this? Wasn't she the one who set it all up? Why was she let go again? Ryan couldn't answer. He blamed bugs. He blamed the software. But deep down, he knew the truth. Sarah was the backbone of everything, and now she was gone. The CTO tried to reboot old backups. It didn't help. Teams stayed up all night trying to reverse errors they didn't understand. Finally, someone asked the CEO, Jordan Blake, if he knew who Sarah Mitchell was. Jordan frowned. Who? It was incomplete. Her photo was missing. Her title vague, just operations analyst. But Jordan kept hearing the same words from every department. Sarah built this. Sarah fixed that. Sarah was the only one who understood it. Now Jordan had questions, urgent ones. Find her, he ordered immediately. Back in her apartment, Sarah sat with her phone in hand. She turned it back on and stared. 52 missed calls. She tapped the screen. One voicemail. She pressed play. A deep voice said, Sarah, this is Jordan Blake, CEO of Stratex Tech. We need to talk right now. Please call me back. Her fingers hovered over the screen. She didn't press call. Not yet. But for the first time in days, Sarah smiled. Sarah didn't call back. She saved the voicemail. Then she put her phone on the table and walked to the kitchen like nothing had happened. She poured herself a glass of water and sat down by the window. For 4 years, Sarah had worked behind the scenes. No spotlight, no praise. She built tools, cleaned up data, and solved problems before anyone knew they existed. She was never late, never loud, and never asked for attention. The company didn't see her, but now, after she left, they were calling nonstop. Inside the glass walls of Stratex Tech, panic spread like wildfire. Every morning, new errors appeared. Client dashboards weren't updating. Reports showed wrong numbers. Emails flooded support. And one name kept popping up, Sarah Mitchell. Ryan Matthews, the project manager from Product, was sweating through his shirt. He sat in a meeting with the CTO and 3 directors, trying to explain how a minor support analyst could bring the system down by her absence. She didn't do anything critical, he said weakly. She just helped here and there. The CTO raised an eyebrow. Then why is half our platform broken? No one answered. The truth was simple. Sarah had built the company's emergency system 2 years ago when the old one nearly crashed. She wasn't asked to. She just saw the flaw, created a fix, and told her boss quietly. Ryan had taken credit, and Sarah had said nothing. Over time, she became the hidden brain behind their structure, making tiny adjustments, writing scripts, running backups, solving data mismatches. She never asked for recognition. She just worked. And now, with her gone, there was no one left who understood how things really functioned. The CEO, Jordan Blake, sat in his private office watching a screen full of red alerts. His company, valued at over $700 million, was one system failure away from public embarrassment. How was she fired? He asked. His assistant pulled up her logs. No reason listed. Just terminated during routine downsizing. Jordan stared at the file. No awards, no performance notes, no complaints, just a date of joining a role and an exit. He leaned back, confused and angry. And now no one can fix what she built? Silence. Jordan stood. Find her again. This time, don't stop calling. That afternoon, Sarah opened her laptop. Not the company's, but her own. She checked the old codes she had written, her scripts, her tracking tools. Everything still worked because she had built it with care. She wasn't surprised they didn't understand her systems. She had offered to document them many times, but Ryan had always said it wasn't necessary. She opened her inbox, an old personal one she hadn't used in weeks. It was full. Subject lines, urgent system issue. Can you help? Sarah, we really need to talk. Please call me from Jordan Blake's office. You're the only one who can stop this. Sarah closed the laptop. She wasn't angry she would return either. She wasn't ready to return either. At the company, Jordan called for another emergency meeting. A younger developer stood nervously and said, I found a line of code deep in the server. It connects everything. It's marked SM. Jordan nodded. Sarah Mitchell. Everyone looked around. She created a hidden control system, the developer continued. It's the only thing keeping us from full crash, but it's failing. What happens when it goes down? Jordan asked. Everything stops. Jordan rubbed his face. We gave her no title, no thanks. And now we're paying the price. Meanwhile, Sarah received a message from someone unexpected. Her former intern, Lily. It simply said, Sarah, they're in trouble and they finally know it. Sarah smiled sadly. She had trained Lily quietly, teaching her more in 3 months than most managers did in years. Lily had always thanked her. Sarah had always told her, stay curious and take notes. Quiet ones like us get forgotten until we're needed. She stared at the message for a long time. Then, for the first time since being fired, she replied, I know. Back at Stratex Tech, Ryan was confronted by HR. New emails had surfaced, messages between him and Sarah, clearly showing her ideas and scripts being claimed by him. The HR manager, Leslie, looked pale. She built everything, she whispered. Jordan demanded. Then why did we let her go? Leslie couldn't answer. Jordan stood, furious. Get her back now. Offer her whatever she wants. I want her name known in every department by the end of the day. That night, Sarah finally answered a call. A voice spoke with urgency. Sarah, this is Jordan Blake. I'm the CEO of Stratex Tech. I don't know how this happened, but I know we made a mistake. A big one? Sarah said nothing. I know we didn't see you before, he continued, but now everything's falling apart, and we've realized you were the one keeping us together. Silence. Come back, Sarah, please. Sarah looked out her window. The city lights flickered, quiet and distant. Then she replied softly, I'll think about it. CEO Jordan Blake couldn't sleep that night. He sat alone in his office with the city lights glowing outside the window. The company he had built was falling apart because of one person he didn't even know existed 2 weeks ago. Sarah Mitchell, the woman no one noticed, the woman everyone ignored. Now she was the only one who could save them. The next morning, Jordan called for a high-level meeting. All the department heads were present. The atmosphere was tense. He placed Sarah's slim employee file on the table. This is Sarah Mitchell, he said, tapping the folder. Tell me what you know. Everyone went silent. Marketing head shook his head. Never met her. Finance shrugged. I thought she was part of it. Ryan looked uncomfortable. The CTO cleared his throat. She wasn't officially under my department, but her work touches almost every part of our system. Jordan's voice was sharp. Then why was she fired? It was part of the downsizing. Her role seemed non-essential. Jordan raised his voice, calm but deadly. Non-essential? She built our emergency systems. She wrote automation tools we still use. She predicted server loads 6 months in advance. And now half our services are glitching. Our client portal is unstable. Our developers are lost. He stood up, holding the file. She was more than essential. She was the brain behind this company's spine. No one dared to speak. Meanwhile, Sarah sat at her small kitchen table with a notebook open. She had spent the night drawing diagrams, her own systems, connections, backup flows, every script, every hidden function she had ever written. It was all still in her head, clean, sharp. She wasn't sure if she should go back. They hadn't respected her before, but now they were calling her by name. Oh. They were asking, not ordering. That made a difference. Her phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't an unknown number. It was a message from Jordan Blake. Please, one meeting in person. I just want to understand what we lost. She stared at it, then replied, 1 hour, my terms. At exactly 2 p.m., a black company car waited outside her apartment. She stepped in without speaking. The driver didn't ask questions. At Stratex Tech, employees stared as she entered the building she once left in silence. Her access badge was still deactivated, so someone from security guided her to the top floor. This time, there was no HR, no small room, no cold goodbye. There was only a boardroom and the CEO. Jordan stood as she walked in. He looked serious, but not arrogant. He offered her a chair. She sat down, calm and quiet. I want to start by saying, Jordan began, we failed you. Sarah looked at him. You did, she replied. Jordan nodded. I've read everything. Your old tickets, your code logs, your internal messages. You kept this company running in ways most people don't even understand. Sarah didn't smile. She just listened. I'm not here to make excuses, he continued. I just want to ask, why did you never speak up? Up? Why didn't you say how valuable you were? Her answer was simple. No one ever asked. Jordan sighed, leaning back. They're asking now. She stayed quiet. I want to fix this, he said. We'll bring you back. You'll have your own team, your own title, total control over the systems you built. Sarah looked him in the eye. I don't want my old job. Jordan blinked. Then what do you want? Sarah pulled a folded piece of paper from her notebook. She placed it on the table. It was a roadmap of the company's digital structure, a web of systems, flows, data sources, and tools. This is everything I've ever done for you, she said. No one else knows this, not even Ryan. Jordan stared at the paper, surprised. This is gold. Sarah leaned forward. But it's unstable now. If the backup syncs fail next week, your main client system will crash. That gives you 5 days. Jordan swallowed hard. Can you stop it? Yes, she said, but only if you give me full control, full access, and no interference. At that moment, Ryan walked into the room, not knowing Sarah was inside. He froze when he saw her. Jordan looked between them. Sit down, Ryan. Ryan obeyed, awkward and pale. Sarah didn't even look at him. Jordan handed Ryan the diagram. She drew this from memory, he said. You said she didn't do anything special. Care to explain? Ryan stammered. I didn't know she had all this. Sarah finally spoke. No, you knew. You just hoped no one else would find out. Ryan's face turned red. Jordan made a decision. Sarah, you start today. Build a team. Name your price. Ryan, consider yourself under review. Sarah stood. She didn't gloat. She didn't smile. She simply said, I'll begin tonight. As she walked out of the room, staff members peeked from their desks. No one knew who she was before. Now they all watched her with quiet respect. She wasn't invisible anymore. She was the one name the CEO wanted to know. Sarah Mitchell didn't take a break after the meeting. She didn't go home. She didn't sit down. She walked straight into the operations room, the same one where she used to quietly sit in the corner, fixing problems no one else could even see. But this time, she wasn't just another employee. She was in charge. The staff stared as she walked in. A few recognized her. Most didn't. One young developer whispered to another, Is that her? Yes, someone replied. That's Sarah, the one they let go. Now she was the one they all answered to. Sarah opened her notebook and pulled up the systems on a nearby screen. The backup is syncing late. If we don't switch to manual override now, we'll lose the reporting database. Everyone jumped into action. No hesitation, no questions. Sarah worked like a storm, fast, focused, and completely in control. She rewrote error scripts in real time. She rerouted code through custom functions she had built 2 years ago and no one had touched since. The platform started stabilizing within an hour. One manager stood frozen behind her, just watching. He whispered, She's doing what 5 departments couldn't. Meanwhile, in his office, Jordan Blake looked out at the city skyline deep in thought. He had seen many kinds of people in his career. Loud talkers, bold thinkers, showy leaders. But Sarah was none of those. And yet she was the most powerful person in the building that day. He picked up the phone and called HR. I want her contract rewritten today, triple her salary. Give her her own title, no questions asked. The HR manager paused. What title should we give her? Jordan didn't even blink. Let her decide. That night, Sarah sat alone in the executive conference room. Okay, Kier. It was late. Everyone had gone home, but she stayed, staring at the whiteboard. Behind her was a wall full of sticky notes, every issue she had discovered since returning, every system failure, every small crack that no one else had noticed, and every solution. Jordan entered quietly, carrying 2 cups of coffee. He placed one on the table near her. You've done more in a day than most teams do in a month, he said. Sarah nodded, still looking at the board. There's more to fix. I know, Jordan replied, but I also know you didn't come back for money. She turned to look at him, eyes calm but sharp. I came back because I built this, she said, and I wasn't going to watch it fall apart. Jordan sat down across from her. I want you to stay, he said, not as a repair tech, not as support. I want you to lead the very thing you created. Sarah raised an eyebrow. You mean head of systems? No, he said. I want you to create your own department, your own structure, your own rules, and I want you to name it. She thought for a moment, then quietly said, Silent Core. Jordan smiled. Fitting. Sarah looked at him, serious now. But I have one condition. Anything, he said quickly. I don't want this to happen again. Not to anyone. Not to the next person like me. The quiet one in the corner doing more than people realize. Jordan nodded slowly. What do you need? She pulled out a document she had been writing. Company-wide audit, fair promotion system, anonymous contribution tracking, a feedback line that actually gets read, and training for every manager on how to recognize unseen work. Jordan took the paper and read it. Every point was clear, fair, and direct. He didn't hesitate. Done. Sarah stood up, packed her things, and said, I'll finish the full system recovery plan by morning. Jordan stood too, watching her walk out. This time, he didn't just see a skilled worker. He saw a leader. Back downstairs, Ryan sat at his desk, still shaken from earlier. His team had been reduced. His access had been limited. His reputation was damaged. And worse, everyone knew, a junior developer walked by and mumbled, Sarah saved us. Ryan looked down. The guilt burned more than the shame. He had underestimated her. He had silenced her. And now she was the one rebuilding everything he broke. Sarah returned home close to midnight. Her apartment was quiet, just the way she liked it. She sat on her bed, opened her personal journal, and wrote one line. Sometimes being unseen doesn't mean you're unimportant. It just means they haven't looked hard enough. Her phone buzzed once, a message from Jordan. They all know your name now. She smiled, turned off the light, and finally allowed herself to rest. But tomorrow, she would return. Not as the girl in the corner, but as the voice that could no longer be ignored. Sarah Mitchell walked into the boardroom with quiet confidence. The room was filled with the company's top leaders. The ones who had once ignored her, dismissed her, or simply didn't know her name. The large glass table reflected the overhead lights as she laid her notebook flat on its polished surface. The air was thick with tension. Jordan Blake, the CEO, sat at the head of the table, watching her closely. "This is everything you need to know," Sarah began, her voice calm but firm. "This is the system map, the backbone of Stratex Tech." She flipped the pages slowly, revealing detailed diagrams, flowcharts, and coded notes she had painstakingly created over the years. The code here controls real-time data flow. Without it, your client portals will fail. Your transactions will freeze. Your reputation will suffer. Some executives exchanged nervous glances. Sarah looked straight at Ryan Matthews, the project manager who had once taken credit for her work. "You've been misleading this company," she said quietly. "You claimed I wasn't important." "You hid the truth." Ryan swallowed hard but said nothing. Sarah continued. "This diagram also shows where things broke down after I was fired. Look here." She pointed to a red circle on the map. "The backup server failed." The monitoring system didn't alert anyone because nobody but me knew how to watch it. Jordan's eyes narrowed. "How many times did you try to warn management?" he asked. Sarah's lips tightened. "I sent emails. I raised tickets. I asked for documentation help. No one listened." The CTO shifted in his seat. "We were busy. We didn't realize." Sarah shook her head. "That's the problem. You never realized because you never looked." Sarah then revealed something no one expected. "Here are logs of system errors I fixed without telling anyone." I didn't want to alarm the company or admit the system was fragile. She handed Jordan a stack of printed emails and tickets. He scanned them quickly. "These show you worked overtime. You saved us repeatedly." Jordan looked at the room, and yet we let her go without warning. The silence was heavy. Sarah's voice softened. "I didn't leave because I wanted to. I left because you pushed me out." Her eyes held Jordan's. "But I'm back now, and this time you will listen." A junior manager raised her hand hesitantly. "How can we prevent this from happening again?" Sarah smiled slightly. "First, respect the quiet people. They're often the backbone. Second, document everything, even if it seems obvious." She paused. "And third, don't rely on one person. Build a team. Train them. Share knowledge." Jordan nodded in agreement. "Sarah, your plan for the system recovery?" "Your plan for the system recovery." Sarah pulled out a USB drive. "This has the full manual, scripts, and tools. I will lead the training sessions myself." The CTO looked relieved. "This will save us weeks of downtime." Sarah then made a final, unexpected announcement. "I've reviewed internal emails and chats. Ryan, your behavior has caused confusion and delay. I suggest a formal review." Ryan's face fell. Jordan added, "We'll conduct a full audit of team management and credit allocation. No more hidden heroes." The room was quiet again. Sarah stood up. "Thank you for listening. Now, let's fix this." As Sarah walked out of the boardroom, whispers followed. "She's the real hero. Why didn't we know her before? Glad she's back." But Sarah ignored it all. She had a job to do. Her mission was clear. She was no longer invisible. That night, Sarah sat at her desk, drafting training schedules and checklists. Her phone buzzed. A message from Jordan. "We owe you more than words. Let's make this right." Sarah smiled. For the first time, she felt heard, and she was ready for what came next. 2 weeks had passed since Sarah Mitchell returned to Stratex Tech. Everything inside the company had changed. The system was stable again. The errors were gone. Clients stopped complaining. The board stopped panicking. And most of all, people started noticing things they never saw before. Sarah's office was no longer in a dark corner. She now worked on the executive floor. Her door was always open, but her presence was firm. The department she created, Silent Core, had grown into the most respected team in the building. A group of quiet minds, builders, thinkers, problem solvers, just like her. Sarah walked through the hallway, watching her team at work. They weren't loud or flashy, but they were fast and sharp. She didn't have to fix everything herself anymore. She had trained them well. They understood the system now. They respected the process. Lily, her former intern, now sat at her own desk, leading small projects and writing codes that Sarah once handled alone. Lily smiled when she saw her. Sarah, we just finished the risk check. All clear. Sarah nodded. Good. Keep documenting. One day someone else will sit in your place. In the boardroom, another meeting began, this time without panic. Jordan Blake stood before his team, holding a report with a bold title, System Recovery and Leadership Reform. He looked around the table. This is what we've learned from Sarah's return, he said. We must change how we treat the ones who hold everything together, especially the ones who never ask for praise. He paused, then added, starting next month, all departments will follow Silent Core's model, knowledge sharing, fair credit, real support. Everyone agreed. The culture was shifting. Ryan Matthews no longer worked at Stratex Tech. After the audit, his mismanagement became clear. He had claimed work that wasn't his, ignored warnings, and pushed out talent to protect his own image. HR offered him a quiet exit. Sarah had no comment. She didn't need revenge. Her success spoke louder than anything he ever said. Back in her office, Sarah received a letter, handwritten and unexpected. It was from Jordan. Sarah, you reminded us what leadership truly means. Quiet strength, real skill, and respect for the unseen. I'm grateful you came back. This company is stronger because of you. Jordan Blake Sarah folded the letter carefully and placed it in her drawer. She didn't need praise, but it felt right. 1 week later, Stratex Tech launched a company-wide campaign titled Every Voice Matters. Sarah was invited to speak at the first session. She stood in front of hundreds of employees. Many were new. Some had been there for years but never saw her before. She spoke with clarity. I was once just a name in the system, she began. I worked hard, stayed quiet, and was let go without a second thought. The room was silent. But when things fell apart, they remembered me. Not because I made noise, but because my work mattered. But Sarah didn't smile for the praise. She smiled because they finally understood. That evening, she returned home. Her apartment was still small, still quiet. But now something inside her had changed. She sat on the balcony with a cup of tea, watching the city lights flicker. She thought of the day she was fired, the silence in the HAR room, the 52 missed calls, the voicemail that started it all. And she thought about how far she had come since. She was no longer the forgotten analyst in the back row. She was Sarah Mitchell, the mind that saved a company. As the night grew darker, she opened her laptop one last time that day. She wrote a short message to her team. Never doubt your value. Even if no one sees you yet, your time will come. Keep building. Then she closed the screen, leaned back and let the peace settle in. She had nothing more to prove. The world finally knew her name. Sarah Mitchell's story didn't end when she saved the company. It only started a new chapter. Months passed. The company continued to grow. The systems ran smoother than ever. Clients were happy. Investors were confident again. And behind it all, one name stayed on everyone's mind, Sarah. She wasn't the CEO. She wasn't in the spotlight. She never chased the camera. But her presence was felt in every department, every decision, and every team meeting. People had started calling her the core, not because of her department's name, but because she was the heart of everything that changed. Stratex Tech had become a different place. There were now quiet zones where thinkers could work in peace. New employees were paired with mentors, not managers. Interns were listened to, credit was shared, and most important of all, contributions were tracked. Even the small ones. Jordan Blake stood at the top and often told new hires, if you want to know how to lead, follow Sarah. But Sarah never let it change her. She still wore simple clothes, still took the same bus to work, still kept her desk neat with her notebook beside her. She didn't need attention. She just needed to make things better. One day, Sarah was invited to speak at a national tech summit. She almost said no. But then Lily, her former intern, now a full team leader, said, they need to hear you, not just your work, your words. Sarah agreed. She stepped onto a large stage. Hundreds of faces stared up at her. A screen behind her showed one phrase, invisible work, visible impact. Sarah spoke slowly, choosing each word with care. I was once told I wasn't needed. No warning, no goodbye, just gone. Some people in the audience nodded. Others looked shocked. But when the system broke, they didn't call my boss. They called me. A pause. Not because I spoke the loudest, but because I built what mattered. The room was quiet, completely still. Sarah looked across the crowd. If you're someone who works hard but goes unnoticed, keep going. Your time will come. The entire hall rose to their feet. Applause didn't stop for a full minute. After the event, people reached out from across the world. Startups wanted to hire her. Universities wanted her to teach. Tech blogs wrote stories titled The Woman Who Rebuilt a Giant. But Sarah had no plans to leave. She had built something rare, a culture that cared. Straytex Tech was now not just a company. It was her legacy. One afternoon, Jordan visited her office. He placed a small box on her desk. Sarah opened it and found a crystal plaque. Sarah Michelle, the mind that rebuilt us. She looked at Jordan. I don't need trophies. I know, he said, but we needed this. She gave him a nod and placed the plaque in the corner, behind a plant, out of sight, but not forgotten. Outside the company, people started telling their own stories. I was like Sarah, one woman posted online. My boss took credit for my work until I finally spoke up. Others shared quietly. I'm not invisible. I'm just waiting to be seen. Sarah read some of these messages at night, sitting by her window. She didn't respond to all, but she read them. Every single one. And in each one, she saw a piece of her past. Years later, Straytex Tech launched a scholarship in her name, the Sarah Mitchell Fellowship for Quiet Builders. It was given to students who worked behind the scenes, who didn't chase attention but built with care, who fixed things no one noticed until they were gone. Sarah attended the first ceremony quietly. She didn't stand on stage. But she watched as one student walked up and said, I didn't think people like me were seen. Then I heard Sarah's story. That was enough for her. One evening, while walking home, Sarah passed by her old apartment, the same place she had once sat, jobless, phone full of missed calls, wondering if her work ever mattered. She smiled at the memory, not in pain, but in peace. Because now everything had come full circle. She wasn't just the woman who was fired. She was the woman they called back, the woman they trusted, the woman they remembered. And whether she liked it or not, she was the name they would never forget.